The Pinnacle, a Jamaican Odyssey of the Wings and Wonder, by Jamaica Holmes, published on July 23, 2025. Act 1, The Enchanted Blueprint. Long ago, though not in the distant haze of ancient time, but just at the edge of memory where dreams whisper, the island of Jamaica was chosen by the spirits of elegance and light to cradle a vision unlike any other. A vision made not of steel and glass alone, but of rhythm, restraint, and revelation. And so, beneath the golden gaze of the Caribbean sun, the Pinnacle was first whispered into being, not built, but breathed into the island's mountainous bosom, high above Montego Bay. The architects didn't arrive with blueprints. No, they came with parchment rolled in banana leaves, sketches made in rainwater and coconut ink. And guiding them were not men in suits, but the enchanted animals of the forest, keepers of symmetry, sacred geometry, and the balance between grace and grandeur. At the heart of this retinue was the Jamaican swallowtail, a butterfly so rare it was once mistaken for a myth. With wings like flicks of firelight and charcoal dust, it flitted across the paper plans, tracing outlines with every tremble of its flight. The other creatures gathered round in quiet reverence: the doctor bird, Jamaica's iridescent guardian; the great white egret, with its neck like a calligraphy stroke; and the woodpecker, a stickler for structure, tapping out the foundational rhythm in a tongue of sacred Morse. Together they forged a tower in thought before it ever touched stone. They called it the Swallowtail, the first of the pinnacle's ascending crowns. Act 2, The Seduction of Simplicity. Now on this island, where color spills from fruit stands and music leaks from window panes, one might expect buildings to shout, to wear flamboyant hats and sequins. But the Pinnacle was designed to whisper. It rose with a gentle pride, like the soft crescendo of a reggae groove at twilight. Its surfaces were clean and sun-kissed, reflecting the light without ever stealing it. Inside, every line was purposeful. Every window framed the sea like a painting. There were no gold trimmings, no fussy chandeliers, just simplicity in her Sunday best, barefoot and laughing. True beauty, said the egret, does not arrive in a limousine. She walks, tall and calm, barefoot through mangroves. And so the Pinnacle was a contradiction, a castle without a crown. A monument to minimalism built upon maximal inspiration. Act 3, When Fantasy Became Flesh. As the final leaf of design was etched by the hummingbirds, who, by the way, were master artisans of negative space, a murmur stirred across Jamaica's hills. The swallowtail had paused atop the tallest branch and whispered into the trade winds, "It is time." And at that precise moment, something curious happened. As if bored with their fabled forms, the enchanted animals began to change. The egret stepped into the sea and returned a man in linen, graceful as he was silent. The doctor bird shuddered into feathers, feathers into flame, flame into woman, her eyes still humming with electric green. The swallowtail? The swallowtail spread its wings one last time and dived. Down, down into the blueprint it had once danced upon. And from that dive rose a tower. Yes, the Swallowtail Tower, not of fantasy, but of limestone. Louvre glass and the laughter of laborers. It was real. The Pinnacle had crossed the veil. What was once dreamt was now drawn. What was imagined now illuminated Montego Bay's skyline. Act 4, Characters in Concrete. The humans, of course, were perplexed. They had seen workers show up without clocking in, carpenters who seemed to know where to hammer without being told, and a site manager who insisted the floor plans came to her in a vision, dictated by a parrot. That parrot was none other than Sir Rufus Beak, former counselor of the Forest Federation, now sipping coconut rum on the penthouse balcony, giving design advice and unwanted relationship counseling. Then there was Clarissa, the hummingbird-turned-architect, who believed every wall should have a rhythm. She fluttered up and down the stairwells not out of habit but necessity. Floors should sing, she said. And they did. At the opening ceremony, Dean Jones, founder of Jamaica Homes and bearer of the deed, could only shake his head with bemusement and pride. People said it couldn't be done, he said, standing atop the Swallowtail's viewing deck. But when the island speaks, you listen. And when the butterflies start building, well, you let them. Today, the Pinnacle is more than an address. It is a promise. Each residential tower within this visionary Montego Bay complex has been named with intention, reflecting not just nature's beauty, but her poise and freedom. The first to rise, the Swallowtail, set the tone, graceful, bold, and unforgettable. Soon to follow are the Canary and the Hummingbird, each with their own dedicated lobbies, pool and leisure decks, and a unique rhythm in the symphony of elevated island living. Together, these towers form a constellation in the hills, where nature, architecture, and the human spirit soar in harmony. They do not shout for attention, they invite you quietly, like a bird perched at your windowsill at dawn. Tourists pass, realtors sell, and yet, sometimes, if you listen closely at dusk, the trees still whisper the names of towers to come. And in the golden halls of the Pinnacle, the walls still hum with the laughter of a parrot who once ruled a forest. Epilogue, a place where dreams perch. To live at the Pinnacle is not merely to own a home. It is to join a myth, to step into a poem dressed as property. It is a place where architecture listens to the land, where luxury is kind, not loud, and where each morning begins with a butterfly remembering it was once a building. In Montego Bay, among hibiscus and humming, the Pinnacle stands. Not the tallest tower in the world, just the most enchanted. To find your place at the Pinnacle, or to schedule a tour of the Swallowtail Tower, visit the Pinnacle Montego Bay, or connect with Dean Jones at Jamaica Homes. For those who believe buildings should breathe, and walls should wonder. Dean Jones, Jamaica Homes Realtor Associate, keeper of the feathered keys. Interested in learning more about the Pinnacle, or Jamaica's evolving architectural scene? Let's talk. Confidentially and purposefully. Dean Jones, 876-418-2524. dean@jamaicahomes.com. Disclaimer: this communication may contain elements of creative expression, including poetic or fictionalized content, and should not be interpreted as a formal offer, guarantee, or solicitation for investment, funding, or partnership. Any references to individuals or entities are subject to verification. All parties are advised to conduct independent due diligence before engaging further. I make no warranties regarding third-party claims unless formally verified and disclosed in writing.